Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I really hope that the wind is not going to be bothersome in this video, but I just filmed a segment for another video I was doing out here, and I really loved just being outside and chatting with you guys. So I thought that I would do this video today from outside as well, but it is a windy day. It's been a little overcast today, and anyway, so please forgive if you hear any wind in the background or outside noise. I have my little 9-month-old in the playpen on the front porch. It's just gorgeous, and so I need all the outside fresh air that I can get. But I wanted to take a minute to chat with you guys a little bit and kind of get on like a heart-to-heart level about homeschooling. I feel like I haven't made a lot of homeschool videos lately, and I would like to change that. So if you are interested in this topic, I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope that you guys will really hear my heart today and stick with me as we chat for just 10 or 15 minutes. So yesterday I read this book for, I don't know, second or third time. It's The Unhurried Homeschooler by Dorinda Wilson. And you guys, this is a very short, like super duper read in just, you know, half an hour or so kind of book that is it just really speaks to my heart every time I read it. And especially yesterday, I don't even know what made me pick it up, but I picked it up, I started reading it, and I realized how nourishing it was for my heart and for my soul. And when something sort of speaks to me like that, I like to share that with you guys, because if it encouraged me, then it'll probably encourage you guys too, to some degree. So I wanted to share, I jotted down some notes on my this is my little notepad. I picked it up from Marshall's. It's a Ray Dunn little notepad, and I just adore it. And it's just perfect for when I'm reading books. I can just kind of take a moment and jot down some thoughts. So anyway, who doesn't need a little more peace in their homeschooling life? I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in so many things. There is so much that goes into homeschooling, and there's so much that can really pull on our minds, on our hearts, and our spirits when we're homeschooling our kids. There's lots of comparison, lots of doubt, lots of overwhelmed, I can't do it kind of thoughts. There's so much curriculum, so much guilt, thinking I'm not doing enough, I'm failing my children, and things like that. There's always someone who you could look at maybe on social media and think to yourself, they have it together. They're doing the things that I wish I could do as a homeschool parent, but I don't have it in me. So it's real easy to sort of fall into this never-ending cycle of comparison, of negative self-talk, and overall it can be just really draining on us as homeschool moms. And it's something we need to fight actively, regularly. And I kind of spoke some to this in one of my previous Q&As from last week, but I wanted to really kind of dig deep into this topic of protecting our minds, our mental state, and staying focused on our homeschooling journey, and always going back to the why. Why am I doing this in the first place? And this book kind of talks to that we, in Proverbs 4:23, it says to keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. We're told to keep our hearts, and when the world is spending more time with your children than you are, it's very difficult to keep their hearts. And so as homeschooling parents, one of our main goals should be to have the hearts of our children and to be pouring into their hearts. So we want them here. We want them to be protected by us. We want protection for our children. These days, a lot of people are more concerned about protecting their front yard or their dogs than they are their children. And that's what she says in this book, and I wrote it down because I was like, yes, this is a problem, because we need to make our children's protection number one. Anything that threatens that protection, you know, should go. And so having them home to educate them and pour into them should be our number one focus. So remember that, remind yourself of that every single day of what your purpose is in homeschooling, and even write it down. And remember that our children have been given to us for a purpose, and we have to be diligent to do the right thing with them. Remembering that homeschooling is not a sprint, but it's a marathon. And if it becomes too stressful for too long, chances are you're not going to make it through to the end. If you are burning out, if you are doing way too much and you're not enjoying homeschooling at all, you're probably miserable, your kids are probably miserable, and you're probably not going to see this whole journey through. I really have fallen in the past into the trap of putting too much on my kids and on myself. And it's a trap that I think a lot of people fall into. He hit the music button if you hear kids' music in the background. Your children don't need tons of curriculum. They don't have to be burdened and overwhelmed and pushed really hard and fast. I think it's been ingrained in us from like the public school system and the way that most of us were raised, that kids at certain ages should be doing certain things. Like if you met a, second or third grader who was just learning how to read, you may think, wow, that person is pretty old to just be starting to read. But actually, that's a perfect age to just start to learn how to read. And when, especially if the child wasn't really showing interest in reading beforehand or was getting very overwhelmed. Children naturally are born with a desire to learn and to explore. And when you push them before they're ready, you take a lot of that away. You really dampen their desire to learn and their desire to explore, and that natural, innate desire that the Lord has put in their hearts to gain knowledge is stunted. And I think that happens a lot in the public school system because kids are pushed in ways that they were never meant to be pushed. I think there was another example in the book about a 3-month-old. We would never expect a 3-month-old to walk. That's just not developmentally appropriate. And some of the standards that the school system has set for our children's young little brains were never meant to do some of the things that are being pushed on them. And you see, over time, the negative influence that can have on their abilities to learn. So, having a more slow and gentle approach to homeschooling for me has been life-giving, and it has been so much better for my relationships with my children that I'm not pushing them and harassing them. It is not an excuse to not do the work, but it is an excuse to allow them the childhood in the early years that they should have. And we should not be pushing so hard and so fast on these little elementary brains the things that we have in our head preconceived that they need to be doing. We need to be our kids' greatest allies in protecting their hearts and their natural desires for education and learning. So we need to slow down a little bit and just breathe and snuggle in and read and play and talk and explore and to get outside. There is a balance of head, hands, heart, and health that is expressed. I think I'm going to go turn that music off, you guys. It's kind of driving me crazy. Hang on. Okay. So getting outside every day, that's the health portion of it. Kids need to be outside and playing. The heart work is our spiritual teaching, our conversations, the getting down on their level and listening to them. That's the heart level. Hands, working side by side with them teaching them how to do crafts or work around the house, dishes, making meals, just working with their hands. And then of course there's the head part of it, which is the academics. And so there needs to be a balance between all of that. And I think a lot of times we think of homeschooling as the head portion of it, when it's so much more. And we need to really remind ourselves of these things daily so that we're not getting bogged down with these ideas that we have to be doing X, Y, and Z, or we're failures as homeschool parents. So homeschooling can be beautiful, it can be simple, it can be fun, it can be a total blessing to us as mothers as we sit back and watch our children just everything. If you really take the time to watch your children learn and blossom and bloom, it is a total blessing. I have been so blessed by being able to watch some of my YouTube videos back and see moments that I missed during the day. And I mean, it brings tears to my eyes because I think, I missed that moment and that was a really beautiful moment, but I'm so grateful that I'm doing YouTube and that I can catch those moments in hindsight. But it's important to kind of evaluate that I'm missing things, right? And bring that, to the forefront of my mind and slow down and try not to miss those moments during the day. And with homeschooling, it can be really easy I do this a lot, you guys. I'm talking to myself, to be like, I need to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, I need to get the laundry done, I need to get the dishes done, I got to cook dinner, I got to change diapers, we need to do language arts, we need to do math, we need to get that done, and then all of a sudden you're a frenzied mess, right? And there's some of that you're not going to completely get away from if you have a large family, if you have a lot of little ones in the house. There is a place for some stress. I mean, it's stressful. It's not going to not be sort of stressful. But we can either hurt ourselves with what we're doing up here, or we can help ourselves to cope and be more relaxed and enjoy our homeschooling experience when those stressful moments are taking place. So it's just really my heart to kind of communicate that with you guys, to kind of let you know that in the elementary years, math, language arts, and reading aloud to your kids and looking outside in nature, that's good enough. I mean, it really truly is. Your biblical studies, getting in the Word, getting the math done, getting the language arts done, and then letting them play. That's good. That's great. That's enough. And that's pretty simple. That's just the way that I've sort of homeschooled for many years. And as Mason is now in the 5th grade, we do have to amp that up just a little bit with some writing and some more of like kind of digging in with like sentence diagramming and kind of learning more about the English language, learning more about spelling and constructing sentences. And the literary aspect of it, I think, is you can amp that up a little bit. But you don't need to have a separate history and science curriculum for the elementary years. There's so much that you can learn by just letting kids explore their interests and then kind of digging deeper and letting them dig deeper. I think that we could definitely set boundaries with screen time and maybe things that get in the way of that type of thing. We go through seasons in my house where I may be a little more laxed than I should be with that type of thing, and then I'll set some boundaries and be pretty strict, and then then it just kind of goes like this, and that's okay. But recognizing that, okay, we need to not allow screen time until after a certain time in the day, so that when they're kind of bored, then they have that opportunity to really dig deeper into their interests and allow them that space to do that. And it's just a really beautiful thing to allow them to explore their interests. So yeah, I think I'm gonna probably have to stop because I have kids have followed me outside, even though I tried to get out and get some uninterrupted time to chat. But I think really what my heart is in this video is to encourage you if you were in a season of feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling just really burned out and you're comparing yourself to so many other homeschooling families, and you're feeling like you're not living up to your expectations that you have sort of ingrained in your mind, take a breather and really listen to what you're saying to yourself. I've been trying to focus a lot on what I'm actually saying to myself in my mind, and a lot of times I'm really hard on myself, and that is not healthy. And it's not good for my kids, it's not good for my spouse, it's not good for anyone if I'm putting myself down and comparing myself and setting standards that are just unreachable for myself. And let's not miss the beauty that's right in front of our face and the opportunities that we have to enjoy this homeschooling experience. So I hope this has been a pep talk. I have a baby getting ready to cry, so I'm going to let you guys go. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.